Hello, and welcome to the Jared Hurst Podcast. This podcast is a place of transformation, growth, spirituality, and connection. This week, I want to talk with you a little bit about direction, not perfection. Doing our best and accepting ourselves. So, as you know, now on the podcast, a lot of what I'm talking about is based on what's going on in my everyday life. Recently, I had this experience where I was trying to be a new version of myself. Now, before I get into the story, I want to talk a little bit about authentic desires. When we're trying to be authentic, we're trying to be our true selves. Part of that comes with being a new version of ourselves. So, how can you be a different you and be authentic? Well, the truth of the matter is, when you're removing the shell that you have placed upon yourself, that is change, but it is allowing you to be authentic. We have allowed the expectations of the people around us, society, etc., to shift and alter who we truly are. How many of you look at your childhood or have been told things of your childhood, and you can see that there are certain behaviors that you used to have, certain personality traits that are no longer there, but tend to still come out from time to time? Right? For me, when I was a little kid, I was very gregarious and very trusting. I would go up to random people in the grocery store and give them a hug or start talking to them. Well, that's part of my authentic self. I know this because when I start acting that way in my everyday life, I feel my life change. I feel my energy shift. So for me, that gregarious, open, loving parts of myself is something that I have covered up. So change can simply be removing the things that we have done to ourselves that have kept us from being our authentic, true person that we want to be. In addition to that, we can want to have new qualities to ourselves, to be a different version of ourselves that we haven't been before. But if that desire comes from an authentic place, it comes from inside of us and who we truly want to be, that is also us just coming into our authentic self through growth. Now, with that said, if the person we are trying to become, if that person that we want to be is because it's what other people want us to be, it's because we think it's what we're supposed to want and who we're supposed to be, that's not authentic growth. That is altering who we are to be what other people want. If other people want it, but we also truly want it, you can look inside yourself, you feel it in your heart, and you know deep down that it's who you want to be, that's fine. But if you can look at that and you recognize on some level you want it simply because it's going to make other people feel better, or it's what other people expect of you, that's not an authentic growth. That's not an authentic desire. So, here I was, trying to be a new version of myself, trying to act on my authentic desires for growth. And one of the things that happens is when we're trying to be a new version of ourselves, it doesn't always work out the way that we want it to work. I was at the bank the other day, I was coming out. I was thinking a little bit about my life and some of the things that I had done recently. In the last couple of weeks, at least this month, I've had a couple of experiences where I've been around other people and I have acted in a new way. Unfortunately, those experiences have not turned out the way that I wanted them to. As I reflect on those moments and I reflect on how I acted and what I did, I can't say that I love my execution. The result that I had was not what I wanted it to be. The way in which I acted was not perfect. But I was sitting in my car thinking about those moments. I said to myself, Jared, I am proud of you and that you were trying to be a new version of yourself. I'm proud that you were trying to be your authentic self, even though it was new, even though it was scary, even though there was a chance that you would be rejected. You went out and you did it, and I'm proud of you. I got really emotional in that moment because to me, that is true self-acceptance. Recognizing and knowing that I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to get everything right. But when it comes to growth, when it comes to being a new version of ourselves, it really is direction, not perfection. We don't have to execute perfectly. We don't have to put forth perfect effort. It simply needs to be us moving ourselves in the direction which we want to go. There is a saying or something that you hear people talk about a lot of the times, especially in the world of personal development and growth mindsets, where people ask, did you do your best? And if you did your best, that's all that matters. I don't love that. Because on some level, my mind looks at that and says, did I do my best? The answer is typically no. This is why. If you go out and you go to work and you put in a 40-hour work week, you're focused, you're there, you're being effective, and 95% of the time you are completely dialed in. Well, guess what? You didn't do your best. You did a really solid, amazing job. But you didn't do your best. You could have been focused 100% of the time. You could have worked 50 hours instead of 40. Right? There's always another level. There's always something more we could have done. So when we sit there and say, did I do my best? There's part of you that says, no, I didn't do my best. And so then you feel let down. You feel let down by yourself, like you didn't really show up the way that you needed to. So to me, it's not about did I do my best. It's did I put forth a solid effort to move myself in the direction which I want to go. Direction, not perfection. Now, that's not an excuse not to do the best job we can. There's a line there between us putting in a lackluster effort and saying, I moved in the right direction, and not ever being happy with the amount of effort that we do put in, right? There's two different extremes there. I'm never happy, I never did enough, and I'm going to justify myself not putting in a solid effort. Only you can really judge where that space is. It might be a better way of looking at it and said, did I do the best I could based on the space I was in and the energy I was in and what was going on? Even then, that might be a little too extreme, but that's a little more along the lines of what we're looking for, right? Is based on how I was feeling, based on the experience, based on what I was trying to do in my life, did I do a really great job? It's different when we're doing something for the first time. A really great job when we're trying to break out of these old patterns and these old ways of acting can simply be the fact that you tried to do something new. I tried to do something new when I was interacting with people this month. And some of those went really well, and some of those interactions did not go great. But it's the effort, not the results. It's not about how everything turns out. It's, did I put forth a good effort? Can I be proud of the effort that I put in? And that's part of acceptance. If I didn't put in an effort that I'm proud of, and when I say proud of, I don't mean the execution, I mean the effort. The difference is effort means I tried to be somebody new. Execution means I did it the way that I would have liked to have done it. So I didn't have a great execution, but I did have an effort I was proud of. But then I look at the result and it's not what I wanted. That's okay. I look at that and I say, great, I'm going to move forward. I'm going to execute differently next time. I'm going to learn from my mistakes. I'm going to keep persevering and changing who I am. The road to being a new you does not get paved overnight. It is hundreds of tiny little actions, which I'm going to talk about with you next week. A little preview for you. And when you have those days that you try and you realize that you're not really proud of the effort you put in, that's okay too. You're going to have those days where you are trying to be something new. You're trying to change your life, and it's just not going to be there. You're going to be struggling with your emotions. Something bad's going to have happened in your life. You just don't have it. You don't want to constantly make excuses to have those days, but when you do, you need to be compassionate with yourself. Recognize that everything doesn't have to be perfect. Even the fact that you put forth something you could be proud of. Get back up there and keep trying. It's funny, there is a really old audio tape that I haven't heard for a very long time. It just popped in my head. It says, I'm not judged by the number of times I fail, but by the number of times that I succeed. The number of times that I succeed are in direct proportion to the number of times I fail and keep trying. Does that make sense? It's not how many times you fail. It's how many times you succeed. And the number of times you succeed is based on how many times you keep trying. The only way you keep trying is if when you have those moments where you don't try very hard, where you don't really put forth an effort you're proud of, you pick yourself up and keep going. Accepting ourselves is recognizing that we have flaws. Accepting ourselves is trying to be the version of us that we want to be, embodying the versions of us that we already are, and allowing ourselves to separate those things from the judgment of other people. Doesn't mean that we don't care what other people think. I'm not saying become a narcissist, but a lot of us struggle with caring too much about what everybody else thinks and what everybody else wants. Acceptance comes from learning to separate those two out, to listen to the feedback of other people, but first look to your own morals, your own judgment, and who you wish to be. Direction, not perfection. I know you can do it. I believe in you. Until next time, remember that you are not alone.